Hey, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. Grandpa coming to you from the living room in Jacksonville Beach. We're doing the next Read It with Grandpa. And today we're doing a story from Greek mythology called Andromeda. So what is this? This is the Andromeda galaxy. These are, I think, billions of stars in this galaxy, this whole circular thing. This is not the galaxy that Earth is in. There's a billion galaxies, and each one has a billion stars in it. So, at 5 years old, 6 years old, you're not really going to be able to understand what a billion is, but it's a lot. It's a lot. So the story is about somebody named Andromeda. And now that we see, now we see that there's a galaxy named after Andromeda, but wait, there's more. This is a constellation, and these are stars. So these lines aren't in the sky, and whoever did this drew what looks like a young lady. Now, they looked up in the sky and they saw this pattern of stars, and they said, well, you know what this reminds us of? Part of this story about Andromeda. But wait, there's even more. This word is Cassiopeia. And these are stars. Cassiopeia is kind of shaped like a W. And this one is done by somebody else, and it's completely different. So these 4 or 5 stars make up the constellation of Cassiopeia, and this here is the constellation of Andromeda. So there's a galaxy that has a billion stars in it that's like somewhere up in the sky. They're not showing it here. And then there's the constellation, which is several stars that appear together in the sky all the time. And they move around in the sky based on what time of year it is. You can go out tonight, and at certain times of the year, you'll be able to find these constellations. So you have the Cassiopeia constellation. That's very easy to find when it's above the horizon. This is Perseus. And he's in this story too. And these are all stars. So what do these things look like to you? This kind of looks like a guy with a sword. And then there's Cepheus. Now, Cepheus is in this story, but they don't call him Cepheus. Oh no, wait a minute. Cepheus is the king. He's in the story. But there's also Cetus. He's a sea monster, and he's in this story. So these are all stars. And you can see they look different sizes. They're way far apart from each other in the sky. But they always appear like this, and they move around. The whole thing moves around in the sky. Get your parents to take you outside tonight if it's not cloudy and look for these. And there's plenty of places online that you can look up the night sky, constellation map of the night sky, and you put in your location, and you put in the date, and it'll tell you which way to look in the sky to find these things. So we have a whole bunch of them, but here's Cetus over here, and here's Cepheus back here, and I didn't find Andromeda, and then here's the Sun, and here's Mercury, which is one of the planets in our solar system. So these are way smaller than all these stars up here, but they're very, very far away. So what's our agenda? Once again, we're going to do spelling, and I need to get my spelling list so I don't give the words away. And then we're going to do the meaning of them. Then we're going to find the word. So I'm going to read the word, and you can find the word while I'm reading it, or you can just, when it gets to that, to the story, you can just, I think this is a 2-page story, 2 slides, so you'll be able to find some of the words. I don't know if they're all on the first screen of the story. And so then you're going to try to read through with me, and I'll go slow. And then you read it. So what you can do after we're done reading it together is just take it back a little bit, pause it, read the first page, fast forward it to the second page, pause it, and read that. And then the Grandpop quiz. Ever popular Grandpop quiz. So what is the vocabulary? There's 4 words tonight. Sorry, my voice is giving way. And the first one's pretty hard. In fact, all of these are much harder than the words we've been doing so far. The first one is queen. Queen. How do you think you spell queen? You spell it like this. Q-U-E-E-N. This is the que, and then if there was only one E in there, it would be quen, which I don't think is a word. But 2 E's makes it the E sound instead of the sound. So sometimes you have a long E, and a short E, Well, if you have 2 E's together in English, that's every time, everything that I'm thinking of, it's E. Queen. And what does queen mean? What is a queen? The lady ruler of a country, or a king's wife. So the next word is monster. monster. Start to think about a letter that starts with m. Ah, monster. How do you spell it? Like this, monster. Monster. What is a monster? A horrible creature. The next one is king. King. How do you spell king? It's spelled K-I-N-G. King. So the NG is king. And what is a king? We saw what a queen is, the lady ruler of a country or a king's wife. Well, a king is the man ruler of a country. Some countries don't call a queen, don't call a king's wife a queen, but in these stories, they usually say the king and queen. But if there's a queen and she's the ruler, then they're not going to call him a king. They could call him different things. But in English, in England, they had a queen for 50 years. She just died a couple of years ago. And her husband, I think she was married, but they didn't call him a king. I don't know what they call him. So, the next word is princess. How do you think you spell princess? Like this, P-R-I-N-C-E-S-S. Per, P-R, just like king, princess. Sometimes a C sounds like an S, and sometimes it sounds like a K. C can be, if this was a hard C, that's what they call it. It's not like vowels, long and short. It's a hard C. It would be princess, but it's not. And you just have to learn these things. They take a while to learn, but once you know them, you're a functional English speaker and writer. And Arlo, hopefully you're going to be learning a lot of Spanish, and Olive, I imagine you're going to be learning some Arabic. And they're both good languages to learn. There's a lot of people in this country that speak Arabic, and there's a lot of people that speak Spanish. So that'll be a good thing. And what is a princess? I know, Olive, you're a princess. To your mom and dad, you're a princess. And to me and your grandma, you're a princess. And Arlo, sometimes you're a prince. Just kidding. Princess is a daughter of the king and queen. Okay. So, let's look at the story of Andromeda. And here's the word Andromeda. In Ethiopia, that's a country in northern Africa, there was a queen called Cassiopeia. And remember her? The W-shaped constellation that you can see in the sky? So that's the Queen's constellation. She was very beautiful, and she had an equally beautiful daughter named Andromeda. "My darling," said the Queen, "just look at us. We are so lovely that I think we must be even prettier than the sea nymphs." So the nymphs, there were, and we're going to learn about them, but they're these mythological creatures that there's all kinds of mythological creatures and humans and semi-gods, demigods, and gods, and all kinds of stuff in Greek mythology. The Queen's palace was on the coast, and the coast is like where I live is on the coast, me and Grandma, but where you guys live, now Frank, you're in San Francisco right now, so parts of San Francisco are on the coast. You may or may not be living on the coast, but we're 2 blocks from the ocean here, and the boundary between the ocean and the land is the coast. So there can be a coast of an island or the coast of a country, but it's not like a lake. You don't have a coast in a lake or the coast of a river. You have a river bank, and the banks of a lake also. But with an ocean, you have a coast, and it's the beach is the coast here, the coastline. It was on the coast, and her words soon reached the sea nymphs. So she thinks they're better looking than the sea nymphs. And sea nymphs are females, they're women or girls. I don't know how old they are. They were very indignant. So they were upset. Indignant is a word that means that, how dare you? How dare you think that you're more beautiful than me? Prettier than us? What nonsense, they cried. This mortal, a mortal is a human being. So these creatures are not humans. I mean, they're not cats or dogs or anything like that. They're mythical. They don't really exist. But in Greek mythology, they exist, and they probably have all kinds of powers. We don't know what those powers are, but this mortal must be put in her place. So when you put somebody in their place, you give them their comeuppance. You show them that they're wrong. So here's the Queen, Cassiopeia, with the daughter, Andromeda, and they're looking in the mirror and seeing how pretty they are. But here's the sea nymphs. And these creatures, I think, live underneath the ocean. So they're definitely not human beings. They're not fish, they're not porpoises or anything. They're just mythological creatures. There were 50 sea nymphs, the Nereids. They're Nereids. This is a difficult word, even for your grandpa. And you don't need to know this word. You know this word in first grade. Like your teacher's going to be going like, oh, this kid's going to Harvard. And they all went to complain to their protector, the person who protects them, that guards them, that makes sure that they're okay. So who is this protector? The mighty sea god, Poseidon. And here's a picture of Poseidon. He always has this spear type pitchfork thing. I forget what it's called. He couldn't refuse 50 angry and beautiful sea nymphs. Yes, some things never change. So refuse means that he has to do. There's no way that he's not going to do what they were asking him to do. They're that important to him. Or he just, don't want to hear their complaining. The queen shall be punished, he promised. So punish means, well, you probably know by the time you're 5, you know what it means to punish somebody because you've been punished. Maybe made to stand in the corner, take time out. There's all kinds of punishments you can have when you're bad. So they're saying, well, yeah, these ladies are bad. He promised. And you know what a promise is, too. When you say, oh, I'm going to do it, Mommy. Mommy says, do you promise? Yep. And so Poseidon summoned, and that means he called. He summoned up a terrifying, that means scary. So he called up a scary sea monster. Sea monster. Sometimes when you have 2 words and you put them together, you put a little dash in between them. But you'd be okay if you just put sea and monster without the dash, with just a space. And sent it to the coast of Ethiopia. So here he is. It looks like he's riding it, but he doesn't go there with it. Here's the sea monster, and he is terrifying. I wouldn't want this dude showing up at my house. So he goes there. The people of Ethiopia were terrified. So that they were scared, very, very scared. They thought this thing's gonna eat us or something. They couldn't, so that means could not, fish. So the word fish is 2 words. It's a noun and a verb. A noun is a thing and a verb is an action. So you can go fishing, which I think is an adverb, but I'm not sure. I went to public school. But you can fish for a fish. Like when you fish, if you're successful, you catch a fish. So you can fish, the action of fishing, and then you catch the thing, the fish. So they couldn't go out fishing. They couldn't fish or go out in their trading ships. So these are big boats that they send stuff to other places in the world and sell the stuff that they have and buy the stuff from those places and bring it back to Ethiopia. because the monster sank their boats and ate the sailors. So, yeah, it's kind of a monster, huh? They went to King Cepheus, and so now we run into him, Cepheus. He was one of those constellations. And the monster is one too. The monster's name is Cetus. I always get Cepheus and Cetus mixed up. And that's fine, I'm old. And begged. So begging means you're asking, but you're pleading. Like when you really want something and you're at the store and you say to your mom or your dad, like, oh, can I please have that? That's begging. Cepheus and begged him to do something. Something. So that's two words put together. Some and thing. Something. My dear, said the king to the queen. Have you been picking out the words as I'm going through it? Because I just forgot all about doing that. My dear, said the king to the queen, this monster is a punishment for your boasting. We must find out what the gods want us to do to put things right. So in Greek and Roman society, they didn't just have God, like we have God, and they had many gods. Like I said, and demigods, they had the children of gods and humans, all kinds of stuff. But when the king did find out, he wept, so he cried. He wept bitter tears. And bitter means it's not good. Bitter. Like something that tastes bitter. It's a certain taste called bitter, and it's not good. Most people don't like really bitter things. One thing that's kind of bitter that you guys all probably know is tamarindo, like tamarind. Bitter tears. The only way to get rid of the monster. So when you get rid of something, you don't have it anymore. You make it leave. Was to let it have the lovely princess Andromeda. And look at Andromeda here with the monster coming up to her. Let's find out what that is. Andromeda was chained to some rocks. So we see the chains there around her, and these are the rocks. And waited for the monster to come and devour her. So devour means to eat, but it means to eat like, trying to think of a word that's not even more complicated than devour, like ferociously, but you're not going to understand that. Like eating when you're really hungry. Like, oh, I can't wait to eat. And it was surely going to and it was surely going to, there's a period there, I didn't see it at first. So it was surely going to devour her, to eat her. make quick work of her, like a snack. But let's see who this guy is. If you remember the names of the constellations, and that one of the constellations had a sword, although the sword was straight, it wasn't like this. You might know who this is. But, and when you use the word but, it's like you say something and then when you go but, it means something completely different is going to happen. You know, you say, oh, how did I do on my math test, teacher? Oh, you did pretty good, but you got a bunch of stuff wrong. So when you hear but, it's either going to be something worse or something better. Hopefully this is something better, not something worse. Because if there's no but there, she's getting eaten by this thing, this monster. But as luck would have it, the hero, Perseus, so that's the dude in the constellation, was flying past the coast of Ethiopia. So this dude can fly. I don't know how. I don't know what he is. He's just in this story, and this is an abbreviated story. That, like, you can get this story in a much longer version. This is the short version. That's what abbreviated means, short. I don't know if he's not a god, but he might be a demigod, but somehow he can fly. The hero, Perseus, was flying past the coast of Ethiopia. At just that moment. So as this is going on over here, he's just happens to be there, but in Greek mythology, there's always fate. Fate. This guy's there for a reason. He's there to save the day. He spotted, so he saw the princess chained to the rocks and saw the serpent, the monster. And sometimes they do that. You call it a monster, you call it a serpent, and you can do that. English is a great language once you learn all this stuff. And you guys are young. Even you, Frank, you're still young. You'll know it. And you can use it. Rushing towards her. So rushing is, the thing was going real fast. And they show her here, she's almost there. And this guy's up here like, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day, or whatever he sings as he's flying merrily along the coast. And what's he do? And swooped down to the water. So swoop is if you're flying like a seagull will swoop down and steal your sandwich. Or there's other birds that go fishing out here a couple blocks from me, and I see them, and they're going along, and then they dive bomb. They swoop down and go into the water and grab a fish. They don't. Most birds don't actually go under the water. They just know how to get in there and get the fish right at the surface. So he swooped down to the water with one swift blow. So swift means fast, and blow means, in this case, cutting with the sword. But normally a blow is like you punch. So like he's hacking with this sword. He's not just, stabbing somebody with the sword. He's trying to cut this thing in half. So that makes it a blow. With one swift blow, Perseus cut off the monster's head. So he did. He cut right through the whole thing. And Andromeda was saved. Perseus and Andromeda were married. The monster had given Cassiopeia, remember she's the queen, such a fright, so it means it scared her, that she never boasted again. So boasted means, bragging. Oh, I'm prettier than anybody. Blah, 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 blah. And all of them, the king, the queen, Princess Andromeda, and Perseus, were placed in the heavens when they died. So this is what the story is, that these creatures, these people, but even the creature too, the monster, that they're placed up there. The story is in the sky so that you can read the story. Now we know that they actually didn't place the people and the monster up in the sky, but the ancient Greeks would sit there and look and say, oh, that one there, that looks like Cassiopeia, like hanging out on her chaise lounge. And that one there looks like Perseus with a sword. And, on and on. You can still see the stars named after them in the night sky. So they're not really stars. They're constellations. Although there might be like a star named after the person as part of that constellation. But I don't know if that's true. I didn't do a lot of research into this, and I'm not an astronomer or anything like that. So we got the Grand Pop quiz. Got the Grand Pop quiz. I think you're going to ace the quiz this time. Spell queen. 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 And it's a good idea. This is the way they do it in spelling bees. It's a good idea when somebody says spell queen, go queen. 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 I'm not saying you should get into spelling bees, but if you do, that's totally cool too. And what is a queen? A lady ruler of a country or king's wife. Spell monster. 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 What is a monster? It's a horrible creature. Now, you don't have to memorize my exact definition. You're going to find, I'm giving you very, very simple definitions now. But if you said it's this serpent-like thing that eats people and it scares people, look, you're right. You're not going to learn this stuff right away. It's not going to be like you memorize all this and then, oh yeah, I got it. You'll go very fast. And you're only going to need a little bit of this and you'll be able to just do this stuff on your own. So, Spell king. King. K-I-N-G. King. What's a king? A man ruler of a country. Spell princess. What's a princess? Oh, wait. I'm jumping ahead. Princess. P-R-I-N-C-E-S-S. Princess. What's a princess? The daughter of a king and queen. So now, let's just breeze through these again real quick. This is the galaxy of Andromeda. And that's billions of stars in there in that galaxy. And we're in the galaxy called the Milky Way. Here's Andromeda. And so now you see that they thought this looked like a young lady tied to rocks. And here's the young lady. And you can imagine her being, she would be turned a little differently, but this is the way it is in the sky. And so if you put this part down and this part would come up, that it would be like her up on the rocks with her arms behind her, chained to the rocks. And that's the constellation of Andromeda. Here's the queen, Cassiopeia. It's 5 stars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's shaped like a W. The easiest ones to find are the Big Dipper and Cassiopeia. And Orion the Hunter is pretty easy to find too. Here's Perseus, the hero. And here he is. He's a guy, he's got a helmet on. He looks like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz, but that's okay. And he's got one leg that's way longer than the other one. He must be like running or something, and this is way far back. And he's got a sword right there. Here's Cepheus, the king, and this looks like, here's his face. And then here's, looks like a dunce cap, but we'll say it's a crown. And then Cetus, the sea monster. So I guess this is his head up here. And he has a long neck and then this big body. And he's... So now the reason we went through these a second time is that you could see what people were seeing in the night sky, and the reason why they were saying, oh, well, this is Cetus over here, and this is Perseus, and, you know, etc. And then, let's see if we can find all of them. Here's Cepheus, Perseus, Andromeda. Here's Cetus. I don't see Cassiopeia. Yeah, they should all be around. I guess it was down here, but it wasn't on the picture. Yeah, I don't see it. Okay, the Grant Pop quiz, the second part of it is, what's the story? Give me a summary of the story. What was this story about? You don't have to go on and for 20 minutes or anything. What's the story about? Andromeda from Greek mythology was a princess from Ethiopia. Here I should be doing. Andromeda from Greek mythology was a princess from Ethiopia who was chained to a rock as a sacrifice. And that's what, like in the Bible, they sacrifice animals to God. In a lot of religions, they would sacrifice. And so she dies and they're rescued. Sacrificed to a sea serpent. The hero, Perseus, rescued her and later married her. Andromeda's mother, Queen Cassiopeia, boasted that Andromeda's beauty outranked the Nereids, the sea nymphs, under Poseidon's protection. Hey, see you next time, guys. Peace out.